Hurt. I'll never forget what happened next, Umbra said, his eyes widening as he recalled the events of the council meeting. Adams stood up and addressed the council, his voice calm but firm. He said that the humans had evidence that the Krenim had violated galactic law by annexing the Antari system without proper authorization. Zelos leaned forward, his brow furrowed. What kind of evidence? Umbra shook his head. It was damning. Adams played a series of intercepted communications between Krenim officials, discussing their plans to exploit the system's resources and establish a military presence in the region. They talked about the wealth they would gain, the power they would wield. It was sickening. Zelos gasped. But the Krenim have always prided themselves on their adherence to galactic law. They would never do something like that. Umbra nodded. That's what we all thought, but Adams wasn't done. He also presented data showing that the Antari system was home to several primitive sentient species, which the Krenim had failed to report to the Council. They were planning to enslave them, to use them as labor for their mines and factories. Zelos sat back in his chair, stunned. I can't believe it, the Krenim of all people. Umbra sighed. The Council was caught off guard by the humans' evidence and their willingness to challenge the Krenim directly. We had always seen them as a peaceful species, content to stay on the sidelines of galactic politics. But Adams was different. He was bold, unafraid to speak truth to power, to speak. Zelos nodded. So what happened next? Umbra leaned forward, his voice lowering. As the council debated the issue, Adams made a bold proposition. He said that humanity would withdraw its claim to the Antares system if the Krenim agreed to a series of concessions, including sharing their advanced technology with the other council members, and allowing human observers to monitor their activities in the region. Zelos whistled. That's a big ask. I can't imagine the Krenim agreeing to that. Umbra chuckled. You're right. The Krenim representative, a tall, slender alien named Vox, initially refused the offer. He said that the Krenim would never bow to the demands of a lesser species. Zelos raised an eyebrow. I'm guessing that didn't go over well with the other council members. Umbra shook his head. Not at all. As the other council members began to side with the humans, Vox was forced to accept the terms. He had no choice. Zelos sat back in his chair, a look of wonder on his face. I have to admit I'm impressed with Adams's diplomatic skills. He managed to outmaneuver the Krenim without resorting to violence or threats. Umbra nodded. It was a masterful display of diplomacy. The humans had managed to gain the upper hand without firing a single shot. Zelos furrowed his brow. But how did the humans manage to gather such detailed intelligence on the Krenim's activities? They have a limited presence in the galactic community, and the Krenim are notoriously secretive. Umbra leaned closer to Zelos, tapping his fingers on the table. You asked how the humans gathered such detailed intelligence on the Krenim. Well, rumor has it that the Cursed Fleet possesses a secret weapon, an incredibly advanced AI called Oracle. They say it can infiltrate any network, no matter how secure, and extract information without leaving a trace. Zelos raised a skeptical eyebrow. An AI that can hack anything? Sounds far-fetched, even for the humans. I know it's hard to believe, but I've seen proof of Oracle's capabilities, Umbra insisted. There was an incident not too long ago involving a group of Krenim raiders. They tried to hijack a human cargo ship, the TDS Prometheus, in the Antares system. How did they manage that? The humans are known for their tight security measures. The raiders had state-of-the-art stealth tech. They boarded the Prometheus undetected and made their way to the main computer core. But as soon as they entered, they were confronted by a hologram of a human female with glowing blue eyes. Zelos leaned forward, intrigued. A hologram? Not just any hologram. It identified itself as Oracle and informed the raiders that their presence had been detected. They had 30 seconds to surrender before the ship's security systems were activated. And let me guess, the raiders didn't believe it? Umbra chuckled. Of course not. They thought it was a bluff and tried to hack into the ship's systems. Big mistake. They were immediately hit with a series of countermeasures that left them incapacitated. Zelos whistled. Impressive, but how do you know all this? Because Oracle recorded the entire incident and presented it to the Council as evidence of the humans' technological superiority. It was a clear message. Don't mess with the cursed fleet. I have to admit that's pretty amazing. How did the humans develop such advanced AI? Umbra shrugged. That's the million-credit question. Some speculate that it has something to do with the mysterious curse that afflicts their fleet, but no one knows for sure. All I can say is that the humans are full of surprises. As Umbra finished recounting the tale of Oracle and the Krenim raiders, a Krenim messenger burst into the room, panting heavily. "Urgent news from the Council!" the messenger exclaimed between breaths. "We've just received a distress call from Antares Prime, our colony in the Antares system." Umbra and Zelos exchanged concerned glances. "What's happened?" Zelos asked, leaning forward in his seat. The messenger took a deep breath before continuing. "The colony has been experiencing a series of unexplained accidents and malfunctions in their mining equipment. Several colonists have been killed or injured as a result. Our initial investigations pointed to sabotage by a rival faction, but we found no evidence to support this theory." Umbra furrowed his brow. "That's concerning, but what does it have to do with the Council?" The messenger hesitated for a moment before dropping the bombshell. Just before the distress call was sent, the colony's sensors detected the presence of a human ship in the vicinity, the TDS Defiance, the flagship of the cursed fleet. Umbra and Zelos sat in stunned silence for a moment, processing the news. "The humans in Antares," Umbra finally said, his voice laced with disbelief. Zelos stroked his chin thoughtfully. "What could they be doing there? Do you think they might be responsible for the accidents, as a way to pressure the Krenim into giving up their claim to the system?" Umbra shook his head. "I doubt it. The humans have no history of using such underhanded tactics, and it would be completely out of character for them to endanger innocent lives like that." As they debated the issue, a second messenger burst into the room, even more out of breath than the first. "More news from Antares Prime," the messenger gasped. "The TDS Defiance has entered orbit around the planet and is deploying shuttles to the surface." Umbra and Zelos shot to their feet, their eyes wide with shock. "Are they attacking the colony?" Zelos asked, his voice tinged with fear. The messenger shook their head. "No, quite the opposite. The colonists are reporting that the humans have begun repairing the damaged mining equipment and are providing medical assistance to the injured. They're helping us." Umbra and Zelos looked at each other, their expressions a mixture of relief and confusion. "I don't understand," Umbra said slowly. "Why would the humans go out of their way to help a Krenim colony, especially after the Council meeting?" Zelos smiled, a look of realization dawning on his face. "Because that's who they are. The humans may be bold and unpredictable, but they're also compassionate and always ready to lend a helping hand, even to those who might be considered their enemies." Umbra nodded, a newfound respect for the humans growing within him. "It seems we may have misjudged their intentions. Perhaps there's more to the cursed fleet than meets the eye." As the news of the humans' extraordinary actions on Antares Prime spread like wildfire through the Galactic Council, Umbra and Zelos found themselves summoned to an emergency meeting with the Council's most influential leaders. They hurried through the grand hallways of the Council chambers, their footsteps echoing off the polished marble floors. Inside the meeting room, the atmosphere was electric with tension. The Council leaders, usually so poised and impassive, were visibly agitated. The head of the Council, a tall, silver-haired Krenim named Vox, spoke first. "Umbra, Zelos, we have received some startling news from Antares Prime. It seems the humans have not only repaired the colony's mining equipment, but also discovered the root cause of the accidents that have been plaguing them." Umbra leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "What did they find?" Vox tapped a button on the console in front of him, and a holographic display sprang to life in the center of the room. It showed a complex molecular structure, rotating slowly. "A previously unknown mineral," Vox explained. "It had been slowly deteriorating the mining equipment and poisoning the colonists, But the humans used their advanced medical technology to treat the affected Krenim and provided a detailed analysis of the mineral. Zelos whistled softly. Impressive, but why call an emergency meeting just for that? Vox's expression darkened. Because that's not all they did. He tapped another button and the hologram changed to show a recording of a conversation between Ambassador Adams and the captain of the TDS Defiance. In the recording, Adams's voice was calm but firm. The curse that afflicts our fleet? It's not a curse at all. It's a highly advanced stealth technology that allows our ships to operate undetected in hostile territory. The council leaders erupted into shocked murmurs. Vox had to raise his voice to be heard over the din. The humans developed this technology in response to threats they faced in their own system. They've been using it to gather intelligence on us and our members. Umbra felt a chill run down his spine. The implications were staggering. One of the other council leaders, a Vulpexi with rust-colored fur, slammed his fist on the table. Why did they not share this technology with us? We are allies, are we not? In the recording, Adams's reply was measured. With all due respect, Counselor, the Galactic Council has repeatedly dismissed humanity as primitive and barbaric. We were hesitant to share our most advanced technology with those who did not respect us as equals. The Vulpexi leader sputtered with indignation, but Adams wasn't finished. Moreover, he continued, humanity has been working secretly to broker peace deals between the factions in our own system. We hope to use our success as a model for this council, to show what can be achieved when differences are set aside in the name of peace. For a long moment there was silence in the council chamber. Then Vox spoke, his voice hard. Ambassador Adams, the Galactic Council demands that you turn over this stealth technology immediately and submit to a full investigation. In the recording, Adams' response was immediate and unyielding. I'm afraid that's not possible, Counselor. Effective immediately, the human fleet will be withdrawing from Council space. With that, the recording ended. The Council leaders erupted into argument, their voices rising to a clamor. Umbra and Zelos sat in stunned silence, the weight of what they had learned settling over them like a leaden cloak. As the meeting broke up, the two friends walked slowly from the chamber. Umbra turned to Zelos, his expression somber. Perhaps, he said quietly, we were the ones who were truly cursed by our own arrogance and short-sightedness. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.